Hi everybody, somebody recently was saying that they had a problem cutting the back of synthetic fur without using scissors. And I know some people, some puppet builders especially, use Persona blades, which are very specific, very specialized razor blades that are meant, I think, for cutting hair. I don't have access to those easily, so I tend not to order things online if I can't find it locally, unless I have no choice. So over the years I've gotten used to using regular craft knives, and it works marvelously for what I do. So I figured others might benefit from that. So here is a quick tutorial on how to do that. So I made a shape in a scrap piece of fabric. This is possibly the most expensive synthetic fur I've ever used. I think it was somewhere around $80 a meter, although I had it for cheaper. It was on sale. So the backing is really strong. The fur itself has very long hair and a very tight short pile at the bottom of it, so it's one that should be more difficult to cut, so that I can show the full potential of this. I'll do one side with the small knife. This is a number 11 blade, and strangely and happily enough, most companies use the same code for this type of knife. So the number 11 is the number of the blade, but if you buy a handle that's compatible with a number 11, that's what you're going to get. So this is an Excel. Excel is the brand. EXCELL. EXCEL, sorry. And this model, which I like, is you screw it from the back, and that provides a lot more tension than any model I've used that was screwed from the top where the blade is. So it doesn't grip out, it doesn't fall out of the grip as you're working with it. I tend to push these knives more than they're designed for. Like I carve wood with it, so I know it's not the best, but sometimes you need precision, and none of my small gouges for wood carving are small enough, so this will work really well and give a very sharp edge. So for the blades, I just buy them in bulk. I buy a package of 100, again from Excel. They come in a small box with a waxed or oiled paper, and then I put them into this metal tin for convenience, because I used to cut myself a lot if I left it in a small box. So for the other model, when I have larger shapes, I use this Olfa knife because it's more comfortable in the hand, and it's a blade that is just as sharp. These are both brand new blades. I just changed them, but these can be used for a while. Even when the blade is too dull to carve a piece of styrofoam without tear out, it still will cut through fur pretty well if you're careful, if you know what you're doing. So let's start with the small one. I traced the shape with a piece of chalk. That's what I usually do. Sometimes I'll use a Sharpie, but I don't like to do that anymore much because it's gonna stain whatever it touches on the inside of the puppet. Not a good idea. So you go, and I tend to hold the thing down. If I'm over a large piece of styrofoam, I could pin it down, so just simplify things so it won't move around, and you avoid deviation in that way. I hold it with my fingers here, and then I just glide. Can you hear the sound? So just go a little bit at a time, and I can actually go like really fast if I want to, but right now I just want to show you how it started to do this, and it works really well. So if you don't hear the little scratchy sound, precisely what you should hear, then you know you're just doing something wrong. So how do I do that even with a big knife? For a shape like this, it's not too small. I can still do the curves, but because the blade is wide, I think that might be a reason. It might be more difficult to do corners, but to do tight corners, tight turns. But as you can see, I can do this pretty well. And I'm trying not to penetrate too deeply into the, past the backing, because what happens is you cut the hair. Now, I was a bit too hesitant there, so there you go. You have to basically drag the tip of the blade across the fibers of the backing, and it just tears through it like a pair of scissors would tear through paper. So it's not perfectly cut yet, but I just pull it out like some perforated paper, and then I have this shape here. Now this one wants to stay there, so I don't force it because I don't want to distort my piece. I just go back with a knife and do this. It's very easy. It's much faster than using the tiny scissors and doing tiny snips, and not even be sure if you're not cutting too much. So that's very nice. I tend to do this when I'm done, just removing the excess. I've seen a trick recently where they use a plastic tape for this, but that's very wasteful because the plastic tape will, produce a lot of pollutants as is being made, shipped, and then disposed of after a single use. So try to, you know, you're already using synthetics a lot, so I'm trying to reduce my impact here on the environment. So eventually I'd like to switch to all natural materials, and it's very difficult, but I've been making a few projects recently that were mostly that, and it feels great, you know. Anyways, that's how I cut synthetic fur with those knives. I just hold it, drag it, look for that sound, and then I pull it apart. Like I was not pressing hard enough there. No problem, you go back until you hear the sound and peel it off. Thank you for watching.